Think it all happens in Silicon Valley. You thought wrong.
myTVR is a cloud-based PVR. So people are used to using TiVo boxes and using Fox IQ and these sorts of things, which is all, you buy the box and you put the box under your TV, you make the connections and you hook it all up. But it's quite a complicated setup. So what we've done is we've cloud-based it, which means you contact it via the internet. So there's no need for hardware. And this is where all technology is heading. So we're sort of heading in the direction of the technology space in that area, so which is great. The biggest issue with myTVR is that getting the technology to a level where it's customer friendly or it's user friendly. So for us it was very important that we made a product around the customer, which meant if we made it too technical, then the adoption by users is very difficult. So it had to be very user friendly. So when you have highly technical guys, it's then important to build from the ground up. So what would suit a customer? And I look at myself as a typical customer. I can't operate the hard disk recorder and the TV set properly at home. My kids do it. So it had to be a one push of a button for record and play, but also the fact that no devices were required. So to get over those, we had to use what we call cutting edge, I suppose, or bleeding edge, because it costs more to be the first in a particular space, but needed to put in the type of servers and the server bank that we needed to be able to operate this sort of service, but then work very closely with the media as far as from a technical perspective on how we delivered that. And we're lucky enough to have a guy called Mark Spythe, who is a PhD in media and engineering, absolutely genius in what he does, and the way he can work with hardware and that sort of thing is absolutely amazing. Our CTO is a guy called Renee Cunningham, amazing hardware architecture guy, so building the proper components in, having a look at what IBM do and what HP do and all these sorts of things, and getting that to a point where we've got exactly the right hardware for the output that we require from a customer perspective. Our web guide, which was also very important in that part, was making something that worked across all devices seamlessly, but also from a customer's perspective, you haven't got an application on an iPhone, for instance, that is one type of application, and then you go to your PC and it's something totally different. So you're learning lots of new types of hardware or software to get to watch what you want to watch on your shows and that. So having it seamless across the whole range of what we do was very important. So they were sort of the hurdles, and I think we spent 12 months going through there. And our biggest issue was, is someone going to catch us in the market before we actually go to market? Because you can keep trying to build the perfect product, but then you end up never being happy with it and you don't put it to market. Other people catch up to you in the market and then you're dead in the water, basically. So it was taking the time and looking at just how we go to market, when we go to market, and to make sure we're in the market at the right time. So, which we've managed to put together pretty well, I think. Our revenue model is based on storage. So myTVR is a media storage platform, and it also has as a component an EPG, which is an electronic program guide. So you can look 14 days in advance of everything that's showing on all the free-to-air channels. And from there you can go in and push a button to record. You can record any time. You can have extended recording for the shows that run that little bit over time, as the stations tend to do. And so we sell storage space. So you can then record as many shows as you like within the storage space you have. The more storage space that you require, then the more you pay for the storage space. But the model runs from about $5.85 or something to $7.85, which gives you per month, which gives you I think around 20 hours of recordings. So when you look at buying all the hardware, or you can do the whole lot and do it anywhere for such a small amount, is quite amazing. But what we did is we broke down what's it cost for the storage, how to put the storage in, what sort of hardware. some of the hardware we're looking at $50,000 a server for storage servers, but it allows us then to store in a way that the cost model works out. So we learned very early that looking at advertising, and there's a company called Hulu in the US, and they're doing a media setup, and they were looking at it being, I suppose it was about a year ago, they were looking at being just purely advertising. And from the advertising model, what they found is they have a premium service, which was a pay-per-month service. Now, we saw that a year ago and we thought, okay, that's not the way to go. And when you add up the sums, advertising around this sort of model isn't really the way to go. So if you start even having fewer users who are paying a fee, will bring you to break even than putting it all out there for free and then working out how you're going to make money out of it. So knowing your model for us was very important at the start. These sorts of services are expensive to set up, number one. If you have a friendly data provider, that's great because the cost in setup of that part's also expensive. Users tend to snack on the service. So we find people on the way home on the train will sit there and they're missing the news, so they can bring it up and watch it on the way home. People in airports watch it. My kids are fanatical on wanting to watch certain shows. We want to watch our shows on telly, so we watch ours. They use their iPads and iPhones or iPod Touch, and they can watch the shows they want. They can record and play back at a time more convenient to them. Other figures in there, the model has a break even. We're set up regionally, which is Melbourne TV is for Melbourne people, Sydney TV is for Sydney people, and it's a regulatory thing. So there's a cost per satellite base that you put down as far as the storage and those sorts of things, which has a break even of under 5,000 users, which is great. It means then that you're not sort of looking for the hundreds of thousands of users and all the advertising dollars and all the work to go through that site. And the main thing is just then getting it out to the user. There's a lot of opportunity out there and a lot of different areas you can go into. Do your sums. So a lot of things are exciting and a lot of people have ideas which may not be practical. So do your sums on what it's going to cost. Look at, from a development point of view, your development time, and there's two types of time. There's real time and there's developer time. Now developer time is normally about 3 times the length of real time. So make sure that you do your customer journey part of it, because if your customer doesn't adopt the service, then you go into market without that, and your business model is essential. You need to know that even from your first customer, where the funds come from to support your model and what your break even is. And I think if you understand those few things, then you can go into business for a long time and develop further and further based on the revenue that you get in, rather than, this sounds brilliant, we're going to get all these people in there, how are you going to make money? So, and that's the critical thing. So if you do those things, not necessarily cutting edge, we've worked a lot on new areas that no one has been before, because you don't have any competition, but it's also a costly way to go to market. If you can develop beyond what's in the market with a feature that gives you a great point of difference, then that's also a great way to go to market as well. So, but there's a lot of great people out there, especially in Melbourne, creating incredible things, and we just don't see it. You know, there's still a lot of it's below the surface, but get out there. You know, there's some great avenues out there as well to promote your stuff. So yeah, just get out there and do it.
Think it all happens in Silicon Valley? You thought wrong.